It's one hit after another against Blake Lively and Ryan Reynolds. And no, the media is not going to tell you the truth, but you know who will? I will. It's your daily dose of Donna. Welcome to the show. It's Wednesday, January 21st. I don't even understand how we are here. I've been covering this story between Blake Lively, Justin Baldoni, Ryan Reynolds, etc., since exactly 13 months ago. Okay, 13 months we've been covering this story. And today on January 21st, I've had plenty of time to go through most of the documents, but trust me, there's so much more that keeps coming out. And I'm going to tell you guys that anything that you see in the press right now about Blake Lively and having her ally, Jenny Slate, coming across, both going against disgusting fake feminist Justin Baldoni, or Taylor Swift calling Justin Baldoni a B because he deserved it, or this and that. It's all smoke and mirrors. The truth is coming right up on today's episode of A Daily Dose of Donna. Hello, friends. Hello. I am multitasking because I've been spending the entire morning going through the docket. I keep finding new things and I'm like, I need to share this. I need to show this. I need to send this. And I'm like, I don't have all day to do it. So I'm going to try really, really hard to figure out a way to deliver all of this information to you guys, those of you that don't want to spend your days pouring through the docket. However, I will say it has kind of taken over my brain in the last 24 hours. Like, I actually find myself just jaw on the ground, fascinated by this story. I think it's partially because A, we've been waiting for this. It's like the anticipation of these documents coming out. And B, it's the idea of Hollywood crumbling right in front of our very own eyes. Everything that we kind of believed about Hollywood in terms of, these are great, inspirational people. They're so funny. They're so talented. They're so awesome. They're so great. It's all just it's imploding. It's imploding right in front of our very eyes. And the only person that took all of the heat from this implosion has been Justin Baldoni. Let's be real. Justin Baldoni single-handedly has taken on all of the heat and all of the anger from all of these disgusting people. And I say this honestly because this is an opinion show, so I feel they were disgusting. And he's taken it all on his back. And never once did he even come close to talking as much smack as Ryan and Blake and Taylor and Colleen and Jenny and Isabella and Brendan Sklenar. My mom, when I was a kid, always said, Donna, don't gossip. Gossiping is going to get you in trouble. Well, she didn't understand that I was going to have a podcast where all I did was gossip. But gossiping is what got Ryan and Blake found out. And I feel really confident about that. It's all going to come out, right? The cream rises to the top and everyone figures this stuff out eventually. So the goal and the reason why I'm looking away right now is because I'm sending myself some saved documents that I saved this morning from the court listener, from the docket, that I want to show you guys. But in reality, the truth is that Blake Lively worked internally on the film to turn everyone against Justin Baldoni. Well, Ryan Reynolds was working externally in the Hollywood landscape to turn everyone against Justin Baldoni. The goal for them, ultimately, after reading all these text messages and reading all these emails and reading all this bullshit, was to completely take over the film from day one. And the reason why they chose this film was because it was a star movie. They knew this movie was going to be amazing. And it was with what they considered an inexperienced green director, a man named Justin Baldoni, who started the process by saying, I'm such a big fan of yours, Ryan. I'm such a big fan of yours, Blake. Oh, okay. Let's see what we can do with this guy. And single-handedly, those experiences led to resistance from Justin Baldoni saying, no, I'm not going to just like throw everything you want at you, which then led to anger, which then led to looking with a microscope at anything possible that he could do wrong and expanding it in their mind, even though, Blake Lively has worked with Harvey Weinstein and Woody Allen and Oliver Stone and some of the worst guys out there. But Justin Baldoni, she had a microscope on him for every possible little thing that he could be doing wrong so they could build and build and build and build and get here. But ultimately, this is a sexual harassment lawsuit. Of course, there's the retaliation piece, but this is the sexual harassment lawsuit. And would you be shocked to know that in so many of these communications that we'll talk about in just a bit, no one talks about sexual harassment? It was like a tacked on thing to the last moment. Like, we should also say sexual harassment. Never once does the words Justin Baldoni sexually harassed me ever come up from Blake. It never comes up from Ryan about his wife. It never comes up until the New York Times article. It feels weird, right? Considering she was so open about everything Justin and Jamie did on the set. Did she just not realize that that could also be something maybe classified as harassment? Oh, well, that's weird. I don't know. She's already gone after someone for sexual harassment on a set. Back on Gossip Girl, I think she has experience with this. Interesting. All right. For anyone that is here, thank you so much for being here. Make sure to hit the subscribe and the like button below because we are going to get into it. Now, last night, I shared on TikTok, YouTube, I'm kind of everywhere, this letter that Ryan and Blake wrote to Matt and Lucy Damon. It was an email or a text message. I don't know. It's so many words that my brain can't wrap around that this is possibly a text. Like, who texts this long? But Whitney Cummings this morning on her TikTok, she said, when I was younger, my mom always said that if any email I wrote was over 2 sentences, it's either because I'm apologizing or because I'm manipulating someone. I think they were manipulating people. So they wrote this text message. Well, let's start this way. Let's go this way. When the movie was first given to Blake and Ryan, well, Blake, right? When Blake first signed on to the movie and she hadn't yet even gone into production, meaning she hadn't even been on set enough so that she could feel harassed, quotes up for anyone just listening, harassed by by Justin or Jamie or any of them, she already decided she didn't like him. I think this is based on the fact that, she just in her mind decided that he was green, that he was inexperienced, that he didn't know what the hell he was talking about, that he was some loser, what she calls him, a doofus director, a clown. These are all things she's saying before she even gets on set, before she even has a chance to be SH'd, right? So when you make your mind up about someone, it's kind of like if you get like the ick, right? If you get the ick on someone, that's all you see. Once you get the ick on your spouse, for example, like when you're dating someone, everything they do annoys you. This is where she started. And we know that through text messages that she's had with Taylor Swift. Right? So Taylor Swift and her have communicated now back and forth in April of 2023, where she's already calling him this doofus clown of a director. And will you come and endorse this new scene that I'm writing? And of course, Taylor's like, sure, anything for you. And, without going into detail yet on Taylor, that's a whole other story. But without going into detail on Taylor, the two of them plus Ryan were the dragons around Khaleesi, where they basically propped Blake up to be this incredible person, incredible human. Anything she does is gold, and kind of forced her on top of Justin Baldoni, saying like, you got to let her have these chances because I'm Taylor Swift and I'm Ryan Reynolds and she's Blake Lively and you're just Justin Baldoni. You're a nothing. You're a nothing. So this is how the entire thing started. But then, she gets on set. And she has that experience where he calls her, allegedly, he says, this is according to her words and Jenny Slate's deposition where he says, something along the lines of like, you look hot or sexy. And Jenny Slate can't remember specifically what it was. Is it you look hot? And then he said, no, I mean, you look sexy. Or was it you look sexy? And she said, I'm not going for that. And he said, well, then you look hot. It doesn't matter. Regardless, he said that to her. And that lit the match of Jenny and Blake collabing to decide this is the guy that we're going after. And in the documents, and there's so many documents, so I'm going to try really hard to stay organized here. The one thing that really jumped out was her text messages with Jenny. Hold on, let me just find it all because there's just so much. It's truly like I don't even know how to find it all. Let me update. In her text messages with Jenny, they start communicating back and forth, really kind of there for each other. Like, I've got your back. I want to advocate for you. I'm so sorry that you're experiencing this. You are so amazing. You are so wonderful. You shouldn't have to go through this kind of experience. So what I like to call that in just normal terms is people gassing each other up. That's truly what it is. It's gassing each other up in this idea where two girls are coming together and they're basically like, I don't like him. Well, I don't like him either. Well, what do you think about this? Well, what should we do about this? And they start to really gas each other up. And because of that, you start to have these two girls on a set who Jenny Slate didn't like what he said to Blake. And then Blake kept talking smack about him to her. And then she kept talking smack to Blake about what he said to her, which was, I'm not supposed to say, or I can say this because my wife is here right now, but you look really sexy in those pants. And that was too much. That was too much for Jenny Slate to handle. She couldn't handle it, even though, she makes comments about other people, even though she said about her Airbnb that they gave her that was too small. She actually admits that she said in that, it's not good for sex. She said that to Jamie Heath about the Airbnb that they gave her because it was too small and the son would be sleeping in the bed with them. Oh, fun fact. I found out through all of these documents that Blake, Ryan, and their entire family sleep in the same bed every night. They co-sleep as a family, all of them. And I think there's like 16 of them. Which is also wild, right? No judgment on co-sleeping, but I was just shocked to hear that. So then, let me see if I can find this document really fast. I'm doing my best, you guys. I really am to keep it all. Like, there's so much that I don't even know if you can it's really hard to find. Jenny. Let me go over to one other thing. Okay, here we are. Okay. So they basically start to have these conversations about how bad Justin is. And I can't believe he does this. And it's so awful. And I can't, when you start to really kind of go back and forth with this, you can see how it really quickly kind of snowballed from like, yeah, he's kind of annoying or he's kind of creepy or like, yeah, it was uncomfortable that he said that to this man is disgusting. And truly by the end of the shooting schedule, right before they had to go into promotions, Jenny Slate was so gassed up about how much she hated him that she already decided at that point, I will not do any promotions with him. I am deeply, she says, disappointed. I am deeply irritated by him. I am repulsed by him. Why? They asked in the deposition. She says, general chaos on the set. What does that mean, general chaos on the set? Well, like the COVID and strikes. So that has nothing to do with Justin. And the other things that Justin did and said, they just decided he was no go for them. And from that moment on, it was all downhill. Like he had no way to come back from that when you have two of your lead girls that decide they despise you. And it's not just one of them. It's not just Jenny, because that happens probably a lot of times. It wasn't bad enough for her to leave the movie. She didn't ever want to leave the movie. She just really, really decided that she didn't like him, and that was that. Okay. So now we're going to move on to Brendan Sklenar. So she and Brendan Sklenar decide to have these conversations, and they have a bunch of them. Hold on, I'm just going to pull up what I have here. Time 58. That's not right. Give me a second. Like I said, there's so much that it's almost impossible to find. If I can't find the exact right now, I'll go off my notes. Hold on one second. Brandon Sklenar. Who knew? Okay. Well, one text that I have here, there's a bunch, but one of them comes in the middle of production, and he talks about the fact that he's going to do a 1, 2, 4, 5. I'm so sorry. It's so hard for me to organize all of this. I'm getting to it. Hold on. 1, 2, 4, 5, 18, 58, 58, 58. I'm not looking at your comments right now. I'm so sorry. Okay. In the conversation she has with Brendan Sklenar, she basically decides with him at first that he's like, I have to do ADR for you. And I have to do ADR. And she goes like, hold on that for a minute. And that's the conversation that I had yesterday, where she basically says to him, I'm pimping you out to all these projects. As she's talking about all these other things that he's doing, and the fact that she and Ryan have kind of like taken him on. And she says the words of like, just call me a master pimp. Go and put on a short skirt and stand there on the corner, Sklenar. And they're laughing and they're joking. And she's like, you're going to be so busy. You're amazing. Then she says something about the fact that Justin is so awful. He's a monster. There's another text message that comes up at the end of all of this. And it's actually quite interesting. It's a text message between the two of them again. But the goal here is to show that she was talking to Brendan Sklenar behind the scenes about, how horrible Justin was. And there's a lot of these conversations between her and all of these people, all of the cast. In this one, which is here, let me show it to you guys. This were text messages around the premiere time. So this is right after the premiere. This is August 12th and 13th. She is talking to Brendan, and she says, she wrote a text, and he goes, wait, who is this? And she says, Evelyn. And she goes, FYI, we are each looking to post resources for people experiencing DV. I can and should fill you in more first if you want to post also. He says, great. Definitely getting hit with comments, really grinding my gears. She says, Sony is pulling together a graphic with organizations by region that we're released in, getting that to all of us ASAP. He says, that's good. Definitely thinking we should hold off on that Creed video, given the way things are leaning in the comments and what he's putting out there. So at this point, they've already decided that Justin Baldoni is the bad guy. He's turning the world against them. And I'm going to make this a little bigger for you guys. I just looked at the screen and I realized it's kind of small. They've already decided that Justin Baldoni is the reason for all of the drama, all of the hell, whatever. And what is the Creed video? We've never seen this Creed video. So they clearly did another promotional video with maximum effort at some point with Creed. And I don't know if that's like to the song or whatever. Where is that Creed video? It probably made them look like shit after this. He goes, at the very least, I can show my friends and Courtney. She said, no one is touching any special content until we get through this Baldoni shitstorm. This man is a monster to levels I never imagined, and I thought I saw it all. It's actually insane. And he goes, this man he goes, he's projecting the exact opposite of everything, constructing all of it, just praying it all comes out. Have no idea how. I'm sure once WME drops him, it will snowball naturally. She goes, I think at some point we're all going to have to confirm it, if even anonymously or jointly. This is so painful and awful for everyone. He has an entire machine and team and bots prepared for this. None of us do, not even Sony, because none of us had anything to hide. Famous last words. He goes, I agree. None of us deserve all the hate at all, especially you. Pissing me off so much. Just have to block it out. But every time I go on Insta, I read something. She goes, yeah, I am legitimately depressed and heartbroken, like in an immense amount of pain. I'm sorry it's being aimed at all of us, you included. So they have already decided at this point to become so close with the cast that they turn them all against Justin Baldoni. We know for a fact that Colleen Hoover was told by Blake, she put it in her own deposition, she was told by Blake to unfollow Justin. And if she's admitting that, then I can guarantee you that multiple other people on that cast and crew were also told to unfollow Justin. Jenny Slate talks about the fact that she's unfollowing Justin in the deposition. Every single one of them turned on Justin and then got a blowback, because naturally we all just saw the truth. And then they said, well, it's clearly Justin's fault that we're getting hate. Justin's getting, he's getting his team against us. Little did they know that while Justin was, why Justin was getting his team, and by team, that means just Crisis PR, Melissa Nathan, it's because of all the communications that he knew that was happening behind the scenes. For example, Ryan Reynolds. Now, Ryan Reynolds truly is so diabolical. I don't understand how this exists in this world. Like, it's stuff that you read books about, characters, like these crazy iconic characters of like the most mass narcissist, awful people in the entire world. This guy has written so many messages in this new unsealing to everyone. We have messages to Colleen Hoover. We have messages to Matt and Lucy that we just talked about. We have multiple messages to WME, and they're not nice. We have messages to Sony. We have messages to this guy decided to go all in. So it starts, remember, when he talks to Matt and Lucy, and he's talking to them during production, because they need, more than anything, they need Blake's cut to go through. This is while they're actually on the movie. They've decided it needs to happen. We cannot have Justin Baldoni get his way in any way. Blake Lively needs to be the final sayer of all things on this movie. So, of course, they go to Matt and Lucy. And in their letter to Matt and Lucy, which is written the most obnoxious way I can ever see in my entire life, but in this message, which was on May 17th, 2024, so this is before the movie's even done, it goes on to basically love bomb Matt and Lucy, tell them how amazing they are, and also tell them, hey, will you help us out and do us a solid? Basically saying, you don't even have to like it, but we really need you to kind of give us an endorsement on this project. It says, hey, Matt and Lucy, if the offer is still open to watch the movie, this is how you do it. And again, this is such a zero pressure ask. We know how important family time is when we're up in blank. So no worries either way. We'd love to get your well-earned POV. This movie has been one of the all-time zingers on and off set. One day we'll make a movie about the movie. And we can't wait to tell you all about it. The stories are already finding their place in the pantheon of legendary Hollywood insanity. And then he goes into Let's Play Pickleball. But then Blake adds more zeros to the pressure, she says. Thank you for even considering. And it's not a bad movie. So who knows, you may just enjoy some of it. This movie nearly killed me, she said. The director, co-star, producer, financier, head of the studio, yes, all one person, had zero experience. But the good news, he also has no taste and an enormous ego, but only because he's in a cult and believes he's our century's prophet. I wish even one of those things was hyperbole. Anyway, juicy stuff. I told him on day one, after so much shit had already gone down, I don't need anything from you. I don't need you to guide me or to make me feel good. I've got me. All I need from you is I just need you to not make me feel like shit. That's it. I've got the rest. And that became true. What I didn't anticipate was having to do everything in this movie. I rewrote the entire script. I directed every actor. The DP was coming to me when he couldn't get anything from him. So, way too often. And then after all of this, Justin wouldn't even bring me into the edit. He had no idea what he had because he didn't author any of it. They gave me 10 days to scrap together an edit to compete with an edit that he's been making since July. I've been sleeping about an hour and a half each night because that's obviously not enough time. So, I've just been gunning it. Then they go back and forth, and Matt Damon and his wife are very much like, absolutely, we'll do anything. Yes, this guy sounds awful. They're making jokes about his cult and all of that. And then she goes into, oh, and just get this, guys, he also fat shamed me because he asked my trainer how much I'm going to weigh in 2 weeks because he has low bone density. Circle back. He has low bone density. Mean. This is a mean, mean letter. So basically, these four of them are just going off on just poisoning the well with Justin Baldoni, this unknown director that is about to have this huge hit, is not only not involved at all with the movie, but he's awful. He's awful and horrible. And then it says, the final thing that she says here is, I literally already have the name of my doc, Lights, Cult, Action. Ryan says, right? I've never seen anything like it. A malignantly vain, sociopathic fominist with almost no sense of boundaries or shame. I cannot believe he hasn't gone to jail or returned to the sun. This is before the quote retaliation campaign. This is before the bad press that came out on Blake. And apparently, this is when he was SHing her. This was during right after the SH. I don't see any of that in there. It's weird that you wouldn't say, hey, Matt, Lucy, this piece of shit who was completely harassing my girlfriend and I on the set the entire time. He's such a horrible. None of it. None of it. Interesting, right? Well, it doesn't end there because Blake then decides to take her own connections. And of course, she goes to people like Anna Wintour. And there's a text message from Anna Wintour that says, Blake, that was a very brave and moving film. And the rooftop scene is brilliant. Knowing how hard a situation it was for you made me especially proud of you. All my love. And the gold dress stunning. Anna. Yeah, Anna Wintour from Vogue was in there too. And then, of course, we have our letter to Ben Affleck because, you have to, of course, have your conversations, with your ex. Apparently, Ben Affleck and what's it called? Ben Affleck and Blake Lively had some sort of an affair back when she did The Town. It's not definite, but that's what they're saying. And she decides to write him a letter. Let's read this. This is an actual email from Blake Lively to Ben Affleck. She thinks she's so funny. It drives me insane. Ben, it's Blake. Don't hang up. Ryan was going on and on about you recently amongst all that blank chaos. He was blown away by you, though he was equally effusive about your Dunkin' commercial. So know you have a Canadian fan club in my house and a Burbank one too. I'm writing with a zero pressure ask. I've just come out the other side, well, almost, of the most upsetting experience I've ever had on a movie. The making of the doc of this film would be more interesting than the movie could ever be. It's like if Wild Wild Country, Fire Festival, and Going Clear had a baby with The Room. Room also works though. Anyway, I ended up rewriting and restructuring the entire script. I also ended up having to direct the movie via the chaotic clown director, actor, producer, financier, studio head at the center. Yes, that's all the same person. Oh, and did I mention he and everyone he had on the movie is in a cult? If I would have just formally directed it, it would have been much easier. But having to troubleshoot through his taste, ego, and pre-existing decisions made it so difficult. And that's not even touching on any of the wild HR issues and beyond. Anyway, now I'm going to bake off with him in the edit. He's been editing since, I kid you not, July. And they gave me 10 days to do my own pass. We have a bake off in 12 days. But I have friends and family preview in New York on Saturday in the meantime, so I can get one round of notes or feedback before we duke it out. If you have an hour and 58 of free time at any time in the next few days, would you be willing to watch the movie and give me any ideas or notes? If your wife or kids are around, I'd love their opinion also. I'm such a fan of Jennifer's. This is about J-Lo. I've told her as much every time I met her, and it would be an honor to have her take. Again, zero pressure. I just really want this to work after all I've put into it. This movie nearly killed me, she says again. And I can think of very few people who would be as prescriptive and insightful as I know you would be. Ryan asked Matt to watch also, so I think he's watching this weekend. Good men showing up. I'm beyond grateful for that. Also, can you believe Jason Bourne is watching my movie? I'll get you an autograph one day, don't worry. If you're still reading this, whoa, you're not nearly as busy as you think. Or you're a very nice person. Sending you all the best always. XXB 87. What? Okay. So Blake Lively writes this crazy ass kissing, do anything for me message to two of the most popular, most successful men in Hollywood. She then ends up having a screening where people like Bradley Cooper and Hugh Jackman, and I believe obviously Gigi Hadid is probably there, and multiple other people who are singing her praises and decide not only will I give you the best notes, but Matt Damon went straight to Tom Rothman, the head of Sony, to say, I haven't even seen Baldoni's cut. Put this one through, though. This one's better. Talk about getting, your people in a row. Yeah, they say we don't have bots, but you got Hollywood. And that, as we know, is so much more powerful than social media bots. It actually gets the things done in Hollywood. You can have 1 million people on social media yelling, but if Ryan Reynolds threatens Sony's giving Blake her movie. So then, the movie decides, let me think what I want to come out with next. So remember, at this point, it's towards the end of production, and everyone is unfollowing Justin towards the end, right before the premiere. And they decide very clearly that they do not want Justin at the premiere. And there's a lot of conversations about this in the documents. There's a lot of conversations about what we don't want, we don't want him here. We don't want him, there. And then we get a text message. Let me see time-wise. I want to make sure I'm doing this in order. Okay. Then we get a message from Ryan to Colleen Hoover. And this is right after the movie comes out. Okay. Because remember, what did we say was Blake Lively's goal this entire time? Was to take over the movie so they get the rights to the sequel. So, of course, you have to keep Colleen in your good favor. So this is messages. Oh, these are text messages. It's so sick. On August 10th, 2024, the movie came out on August 9th. The premiere was on, I believe, August 6th. From Ryan Reynolds to Colleen Hoover. It's long. Wait, just so you guys know, it's long because Ryan Reynolds wrote it. Ryan and Blake are both the biggest. They talk so much. Colleen, I'm sending you literally every form of congratulations. I see the sky while jumping up and down while rapidly happy clapping. At one point, I was 3 feet from you at the after party, but I wasn't able to extricate myself from the Sony Studios chairman's mouth. I'm still in here and I'm a little shocked I have service. Ew. Holy fuckity fuck. You guys really pulled it off. Like Colleen, this thing is on fire everywhere and audiences have wrapped both arms around the film. You and B made something gorgeous out of ingredients you didn't ask for, which is what makes you both and this whole post-production team so clutch. I heard you guys got a tummy bug and you're stuck in New York. Now you guys listen to this. Turn your volume up for this moment, okay? Although it might be your body ridding itself of any residual Baldoni, I'd rather be puking in a gulag than hijacking performative feminism while practicing personal growth catchphrases in the mirror. I hope you're taking a moment to enjoy this. I know the road isn't always easy or clear. When you're a creator and apex storyteller like you, I can imagine it takes a very resolute mind and heart to process all the strange people with muddled intentions trying to warm their hands on your light. What's happening this weekend with It Ends With Us is a victory lap and a testament to fortitude. You created a world people wanted to experience about a subject that's very hard to talk about. You and Blake opened the movie adaptation higher than most films with budgets 5 to 6 times larger. During a movie season that was about to give up on a female-led films, this is proving a point that audiences will show it for a film if it's good, a lesson the industry learns and forgets in perfect concert with the seasons. What a complete fucking win this is. I know we all breathe rare air. I realize how lucky we are, but I also know how genuinely good you and B are. And seeing people put shitty people over their knee for a good old fashioned pants down spanking in the supermarket is a special experience I don't take for granted. What the hell is he talking about, you guys? You both trued up this whole project on and off screen. You two are thoughtful and intentioned and relentless. And it's to the same tender grift and humanity, which created not only a world renowned novelist, but the engine that got this film to here. I could literally write you 85 more paragraphs, please don't, eulogizing what this all means to me. This whole team rallied and delivered. Even Sony stepped up in ways I never imagined. Just wait. Wait a few days and then you'll hear him talk badly about Sony. But mainly, I'm just incredibly proud and inspired by you and B. Hope you're feeling so much better, and I can't wait for all of us to celebrate in person. Da, 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 da. He writes back, and she says, thank you so much. Like, this has been so hard, so scary, so amazing, so wonderful. And she says, thank you really doesn't cut it out for you and what Blake and you have done for this film. It's life-changing for you, more than just me. You guys are class acts, and I will stand by that forever, she says. He says there's no comp for this. That ain't hyperbole. A weekend number that was around 30 million would have been parade worthy, but 45 to 50, that speaks volumes. Da, 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 da. And then he goes back to Justin. And I know things have been noisy with that schmuck. He literally hired Johnny Depp's crisis team, which is why social has been so weird. They utilize thousands of bots, and it's all kind of gross. The higher road can be lonely, but the movie opening to this historic number is the checkmate nobody can compete with, etc., etc. Colleen says, I had a feeling this was Justin's team controlling the online narrative. I'm just staying offline. I have a wonderful group of people, so on and so forth. He says, yeah, when he uses a crisis team like that, you can start to see all the strategy they've equipped him with. Crisis team says, okay, Justin, all you do is talk about DV and how wonderful Blake is, and we'll handle the online stuff. No matter what, you keep up your feminist advocacy and speak like an emotionally elevated thought leader. Understood? And then he says that Justin says, namaste, let's get this bitch. Colleen laughs. Ha 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 ha. Ryan says, I think the truth about him is already finding its way to the light. It's amazing to me that you can have everybody involved with the production completely run away from a person who is obviously a predator and sociopath. And the narrative must first land on why a woman is the problem. It's amazing to me how low people still go. But people are already coming forward, and soon enough, someone is just going to go on record. Colleen goes, it's mind-blowing. Hopefully people will change their minds. Good to hear it's already beginning to skew away from him. Ryan Reynolds goes, surprising it's mostly girls. At least that's what I've seen. And the really smart folks already know. Although the narrative at the moment is how insanely well the film is performing and how much audiences love it. So this is how Ryan Reynolds was communicating with the people about Justin all the way back from on record, May of 2024. Okay, so this is even before anything with smear campaign and all that bullshit. This is how Ryan was openly speaking about Justin. And Justin got wind of that. He heard that he was going to places like WME and calling him a sexual predator and an awful human being. And so Justin was like, holy shit, what do I do? He says to his PR agent, Jen Abel. We've talked about this. We've gone through these texts before. Jen Abel, what do I do? And she's like, I say we bring on Melissa Nathan. Melissa Nathan has dealt with this. She understands crisis PR. You're going to probably get a lot of shit coming your way. Let's get like armed up, right? Okay. It's not over, guys. It's not over. So then, what do I want to read? On the movie comes out. Oh, this is before the movie comes out. This is July 13th, and this is Ryan to one of his agents, Patrick Whitesell, who's a chairman at WME. I'll pull it open for you guys. By the way, thank you so much for being here. If you guys are here, make sure to hit that like. Make sure to hit that the like and the subscribe. It really helps my show. And also thank you for super chats. This is from KRC that says that color looks yummy on me. Thanks, Blake. Appreciate that. Really appreciate it for all of you guys. Okay. Let's go into this message that Ryan Reynolds wrote to Patrick Whitesell in July 13th. Hey, Patrick, do you have a couple minutes to chat? I'm in London. I have a call with Paul Feig from 5:30 to 6 and I'm free. I realize it's Saturday. No pressure. Patrick says, of course, just ring my cell. They go back and forth. They keep missing each other. And then finally, Patrick says, they speak finally at 12:30 p.m. on July 13th. It's a Saturday. But then at 2:17 p.m., so who knows how long they spoke for, Patrick sends him a text and says, we will figure this out. Ryan says, thank you, PW. I think ultimately the guy needs to comprehend the stakes. He's an inexplicably toxic mess, to say nothing of the fact he presents as a feminist ally warrior when he's actually a thoroughbred predatory fraudster. Talking to Danny will be helpful. Danny is also at WME, so at the same agency that Ryan is at, same agent. They work together, Danny and Patrick Whitesell, but Danny is Justin's point. He says, talking to Danny will be helpful. I don't want to prescribe anything. I want to enlist Danny to help. I'd like to present options. Justin should be writing 15-page apology letters to Blake and dozens of other folks from the film. Instead, he continues to attack Blake. And before long, she's going to stop protecting him from the other cast and crew who want to hold him accountable. He's a bit Trumpy in the sense he just labels everybody else the very thing he is himself. He's talking about himself. Ryan is literally recognizing something about himself, but he's putting it on Justin. It's hilarious. Then it continues. I'd put Blake's reputation on trial. Here we go. Any day of the week. It's about to come up soon. She's worked with Oliver fucking Stone and dozens of other mercurial and abusive people. In her experience and mine, nobody has ever reached the Empyrean heights of vile the way Justin Baldoni has. His complete lack of not only remorse, but self-preservation is a character study in malignant, lazy-lidded stupidity and darkness. I'd much rather focus on what's important, but this thing has to be dealt with, and I'm happy to jump in with Danny whenever you feel is the right moment. I'll be very calm, diplomatic, and solution-oriented. What in the world did Justin Baldoni do that caused this kind of communication to his agency? Not a word. Thank you, Jen, for the super chat. Thank you. She says in all of the text, not a single comment about sexual harassment. This is where it would come up. This is where it would come up because there was no smear campaign yet. July, he's talking to his agent and he doesn't say a word that Justin was sexually harassing two of the women on the set. No way. Huh. Interesting. It's all just so interesting to me. So that was in July. And then that's August 9th. I just want to do it in order. Yes. Oh my God, there's so many messages between him and his. Okay. So then on July 9th. Yeah. On July 9th. So remember, this is the day of the movie being released. August. Sorry, not August. It's August 9th. So the premiere is August 6th. They already got all their flowers on that red carpet with Justin in the basement. And now August 9th. Okay. Enrique. Donna, I've never seen this level of rage since that comment that told you to correct yourself. The only person that needs to correct themselves are Blake and Ryan. My eyebrows, all of that can go. We can move on from that. You guys are so funny. All right, here we go. Let's read his messages with his agent, Warren Zavala. This is another agent that of Ryan Reynolds. Oh my God, look at this, you guys. I want you to realize that this is a text message to his agent who has multiple other clients. Can you, if you're watching this visual right now on YouTube, you can see what I'm looking at. This thing is so long. It's so long. All right. You guys ready? Excuse the long text. It's 5:12 a.m., by the way. Okay. You can sort of feel the Baldoni stuff coming to a head online. Twitter and TikTok are inexplicably blaming Blake at the moment. But I can't imagine details won't come out because Baldoni and Jamie Heath offended, harassed, finally we get the harass, or violated too many people. And the internet is obviously looking for answers and obviously seeking how every cast member and key crew member, including Colleen, won't be in the same room as the guy. All of them have at some point over the last 6 months unfollowed him on social media. Not one person has said Justin's name out loud in any interview at any time. At what point do Justin and Jamie not take a moment to step into the light and say, maybe it's us? I can't tell yet if overwhelming success this weekend amplifies or snuffs this out. We're navigating uncharted territory in so many ways. Todd Black, who's a producer, called me back in a bit of a panic. The call didn't go well because he's looking to brainstorm ways to diffuse this stuff with Baldoni. Paraphrasing here, but basically Todd's line of thinking is, why doesn't Blake just hit it head on and say, Justin and I had disagreements and didn't get along, but we both love the film so much? And what I expressed to Todd is this attitude and approach is the exact problem. If I'm getting it right, he and Angie would prefer beat or just roll over and lie because the box office is on fire. How could they spend so much time with her, yet have no sense of who she is or what she's made of? I told Todd it's infuriating. Anyone would look at Blake to fix a problem Baldoni, Jamie, and to a certain degree, Angie literally manifested. Instead of aggressively implementing steps to create a safe work environment for Blake and every other woman on set, they responded in laughably impotent and meek ways. They revealed their hand immediately and often. I'm super frustrated because this is a moment in which Blake should be celebrating. She made this unbelievable win happen. She made this a win for Sony and by proxy Wayfarer. She fucking refused to give up on the film. She didn't sleep. She missed countless moments with her kids while sitting in edit rooms, scrapping and frame fucking dailies for every square inch of quality. She slammed together a recipe for success despite working with ingredients she wasn't even able to choose. All this while masterminding a world-class marketing and promo plan for a movie that's punching so far above its weight, I've lost descriptors to even describe what is happening. She willed this weekend into reality. Baldoni and these other buckets of dumb juice should be acknowledging the speculation and gossip themselves. They should be jumping in front of it in the most full-throated, unqualified way now. They should be protecting B. They can and should accept the consequences of their actions and lean into the countless and willfully gross behavior before it leans into them. They made a big fucking mess. Blake, under no circumstances, should be asked to clean up this sloppy, cliched fuckstorm. If they are made of anything resembling the humanity or dignity or capacity for growth that they project on their foaminish shithole of a podcast, they'd be releasing a statement saying like, our behavior, so this is a statement that he wants everyone to say, that he wants Jamie and Justin to say, remember this? Our behavior on the set of It Ends With Us was abhorrent and not even close to standards and respect both Colleen Hoover and Blake Lively deserve, to say nothing of the entire cast and crew who bravely pushed their way through an unnecessarily challenging shoot. We're working to better understand how we fostered a workplace environment so lacking boundaries, guardrails, respect, and in many incidents, decency. Our aim is to take real accountability, which extends beyond performative virtue signaling. The success of It Ends With Us isn't because of our involvement. The film is succeeding in spite of it. The warmth and love audiences are showing this film are in large measure due to the skillful work of Colleen Hoover and Blake Lively, who dedicated themselves to a radically accelerated post-production process. Their refusal to accept incompetent working conditions should be the reason a movie fails, but their unwillingness to accept these conditions that we created are the reason this film is succeeding. He keeps going, guys. He keeps going. We at Wayfarer believe with our whole heart the underlying message of It Ends With Us must inspire an imperative and potentially life-changing conversation. Colleen and Blake poured their work ethic, courage, and innovation into ensuring these important themes are packaged in a way that's respectful of the sensitive subject matter, honoring of the source material made to deliver an entertaining, nuanced, and ultimately optimistic experience. It continues. Our goal now is to take a step back and conscientiously reflect on this experience. For the foreseeable future, our mission is to examine and re examine the objectionable behavior and inadequate decision making skills, which clearly hurt and offended people who place their trust in us. In doing this work, we continue to support the incredible cast and crew from the background. They've worked hard to construct a film which is being embraced all over the world. Sincerely, Justin Baldoni and Jamie Heath. I could fall over and pass out that he wrote this. This is still in one text message. Remember, I started talking 18 minutes ago. Still one text message. If they orbited, he says, if they orbited or even glanced an acknowledgement like this, it would be the first discernible proof either possess a spine or something slightly north of a sociopathic understanding of basic consequence and impropriety. The only thing they don't seem interested in is the truth. And all Blake has is the truth. Like even one of the 26 things on the list she read aloud to Baldoni, Jamie, Todd, Angie, and Josh, who were all sitting in our living room, would be considered irretrievably monstrous and shocking. I think it's fine to play through the weekend, but I'm flying blind when it comes to Blake. We haven't had the chance to fully discuss the right course. I know she'll have a clear perspective unless something changed. All she cares about is the creative and a well-earned outcome, but I happen to think some action is necessary. She should not be subjected to some eye-rolling narrative of the controlling bitch. If I were those two guys, I'd be jumping in front of this now with energy. So his agent, who gets paid 10% from Ryan, says, first of all, I love your writing. I've read this a couple times. I think we should chat. I can't respond in a way that plays at the same level. Simply, you're right. They can't have some expectation that she's going to make it fine for the offender. Nor do I think these guys have the humility or capacity to be proactive in that way. I think their instincts are self-serving and quite the opposite. I think a lot of these are bots. Sarah and I are looking at it. My belief is that he's orchestrating a narrative and probably has a crisis team plotting his moves here. It's the exact opposite of what should be happening. This narrative, if he's the only one talking about the book and domestic violence, smells of foul play. Not to be an alarmist. Call me when you land. Todd is disappointed on this, something like that. Oh, Todd is so disappointing on this. They're talking about Todd Black, the producer. And then Ryan says, Todd and Angie are fucking textbook, ineffectual elderly people with no ideas or thoughtful communication skills, just blunt instruments with 6 catchphrases and about 5 key words. Warren says, it's this guy's incredible ego. It feels like he's laying a trap for truth surfaces while promoting a narrative digitally. Ryan says, yeah, but honestly, someone is just going to tell a journalist the real deal and it's going to blow up in his face. Hey, that journalist was Megan Twohey, right? Ryan knew this was going to happen. He was ready. Ryan is the reason for the New York Times article. Like there's no question that Ryan created all of this. Warren goes, one would think, but the truth does become muddled sometimes. That's why I'm concerned if he's laying a trap. I hope this fraud shit weasel is exposed. This is an agent at the same agency for Justin Baldoni says, I hope this fraud shit weasel is exposed. I just want to protect our downside. The movie working is everything. Let's see if the noise subsides. Then he sends an article about from the world of real about the movie. And Warren says, this is all spin. I think we let it burn. Ryan says, how'd that work out for Depp? Warren Zavala, not well. Cratered both of them ultimately. That's why he's an egotistical shit weasel with a god complex. Then he says that JGS, I think that's Jonathan Greenstein, I don't know, and I spoke with Leslie. She's in it with Josh in the studio. She has a relationship with this woman, Melissa, that has been retained by Baldoni. She's the Brit that worked with Depp. Call me when you want to discuss. Ryan Reynolds completely continues back and you know, like, oh, he says Leslie should definitely engage the studio and fight back in any way necessary, but I think we should just stay quiet and let Baldoni do his thing. So they keep going. Let that human rounding error Baldoni play his little game. This is how he speaks about Justin Baldoni. How we doing, guys? Everyone here? I think I need a glass of water or a sip of water. It's so crazy how he talks about this man. It's as if Justin Baldoni like physically attacked one of his kids or slept with his wife or like something really, really intense. Like you don't talk this way about someone that just was a little unprofessional on set. It feels insane. But the reason why they hate him so much is because he didn't fall over and just let Blake walk all over him. And that to them was like way too much. Then on August, okay. Then on August 12th, so now the movie has been out for a couple days. And if you remember anything from this moment, things weren't looking good for Blake online, right? Things were just getting worse and worse and worse, worse and worse and worse. And so then Ryan decides to go again. He speaks to Patrick Whitesell and Warren Zavala. Sorry, guys, but I have to do it. I have to read this shit. Can you believe this is how he does this? I appreciate you guys taking time to hear me out. So I'm sure they already were on the phone before this. I know I sound angry, but I promise you I have way more okay, hold on. I know I sound angry, but I promise you I have way more rage in the tank. I just feel depleted and exhausted, as they say. Keep away from the dying animal. I can't and won't sit by watching my wife, who's been asked to shapeshift around a problematic man since the very beginning of this movie, complete a grand slam home run, only to be dragged through the mud while people ring the shame bell on her. And besides me and her, nobody seems willing to have an uncomfortable conversation on her behalf. Or on my behalf. I've spent too many hours trying to reason and negotiate a way through this, at minimum, to neutralize the situation, and at best, advocate for the truth to be told, when the truth should, in reality, be the only thing that we advocate for. Where is Sony as well? Greenstein said he'd go on record about this today with the trades. She went so far above and beyond what should be asked of anyone in order to land a jumbo jet on a fucking dime. All risk with a very narrow target for reward. It's nothing short of incredible and unheard of. I think she deserves to feel that. I think I deserve to enjoy the work I've put in over the last 3 years on Deadpool and Wolverine. Blake deserves to have people step up for her. Everyone who knows the truth should be in her corner seeking accountability. These guys are enjoying laurels, accolades, and a conflict-free win. Zero humility. Baldoni saw the movie for the first time at the premiere. It's baffling that he has the lazy-lidded confidence to even show up with full knowledge that the entire cast and a bunch of crew members know exactly how he behaved. He and his shitbag partner are predators and frauds. We all know it. Sony knows it, and you know it. Full stop. Yet they remain unchecked. We are not asking them to detail the dumb horror show of a production they willfully created. We're asking them to take accountability under the most generous terms imaginable, to apologize to Blake, Colleen, and the rest of the cast and crew they've hurt. Folks who acted with integrity and professionalism throughout the entire production, post-production, and promotion of the film. We all work with people who aren't necessarily good at their job, but usually they're nice people. So we shrug and move on. But when they're incompetent predators and frauds, that hits different. My wife wasn't going to finish this film as both a victim and a proud recipient of a shitty movie and a shitty opening. The only headline would be Blake Lively bombs. He doesn't get to walk away like that. The thing I believe both my wife and I are missing most in this debacle is your rage. And I hope I've illustrated why that is. I have never had anything but an intense love and admiration for WME and the entire company. But I've also never needed WME like I do in this moment. I am always comfortable handling my own shit. But this is a situation in which I need, along with Blake, a sense of solidarity and duty of care. So he is basically threatening WME to say, if you're not going to continue showing up for me and standing loud for me, bye. And if you guys remember, a little bit later, there were those pictures of him with CAA, Brian Lord. Like, Ryan was totally dangling the fact that they represent Ryan Reynolds, who's a huge moneymaker for them, in front of him. Stand with me or else. So Patrick, his agent, responds, Ryan, I completely understand all of this. Blake and you deserve the advocacy from us as your agents. I hadn't been aware of all of this until you reached out to me a few weeks ago. But in just these few weeks, I've learned the full picture of what Blake, you, and many others have endured. I am really sorry for all of you. I am also sorry that you haven't felt the proper advocacy from us. I can assure you that going forward, that won't be the case. Warren, Doug, and I have had a conversation tonight. We'll be deploying in the morning with the town. As you said, the most important thing here is that we don't let any of this have a negative effect on you two professionally, and that all the studios, important buyers, etc., know the truth about all of it. We won't rest until that is abundantly clear. Warren, another agent, says, hung up with Josh a bit ago. This is the head of Sony. Went crazy on him for not getting back to us today. He said he had been working internally to arrange a call for you and Blake with him, Tony, and Tom for the morning. He was reaching out to arrange. Update on the draft. Marie Sheehy has been speaking with Jamie and the publicity team on their side. She believes there is something on their side drafted, and they're reaching Justin to talk to him about it. This is something that you and B will want to see prior to distribution, right? Or due to the time difference, you want this going out directly? So basically, at this point, his agents are saying, we're getting Justin to write an apology letter. Justin is doing it. We're talking to him. We have our people and Sony talking to his people. We are going to get Justin to apologize publicly. Are you okay with that, Ryan? Or do you need to see the letter that Justin writes before it goes out? You guys, it's diabolical. Ryan goes, I appreciate it. And thank you. I think I've just hit a breaking point with this. We all work too hard and too well to take this on the chin. And yes, we definitely want to see a draft of what they're putting out. I think they should also include Jenny Slate and Isabella Ferrer in their apology. My assumption is that both Sony and Wayfarer are going to attempt to thread the needle with any statement, and that can't happen. Needs to be an unqualified, unreserved, full throat apology to Blake, Colleen, Jenny, and Isabella, along with the rest of the cast. Do we have any sense of timeline here? Warren says no. As of midnight last night, they've gone quiet. I've spoken to Josh again this morning, and we've started our work in terms of analytics around the conversation and bringing our team together. Ryan says, I think we need to coordinate a cadence with a Sony statement and a Baldoni Heath statement, and it absolutely has to happen today. And I suspect other casts will speak to this on background or on record. Warren says, yes, I agreed. We should have a strategy call prior to your call with Sony. Yep. So Ryan is already like, I'm getting Isabella on this. I'm getting Jenny Slate on this. We are all, Brendan Sklenar, we are all coming at this. I'll handle this. You handle them. I don't think ever in my entire life working in this industry, and I used to be a lot of you guys are like, you're reading so on it, like you're reading so good. I used to be a casting director, so my job every day was auditioning with actors, so I'm good at line reads. But this is by far, in all my years of the industry, in all my years of seeing private messages and private emails and stuff, I have never seen anything this convoluted, this entitled, this insane, from the husband of Blake Lively. And then finally, the last message that I saw that he was messaging, which was, this is now a couple days later. It's August 17th, 2024, August 18th. So those messages I just read were like August 12th, 13th. So this is now 4 or 5 days later. Are you guys enjoying this, or do you want me to stop? I can't get enough. I could do this all day. I do have a nail appointment at some point, but I could do this all day. He's pissed. This is on August 17th. They have to start advocating for her, Ryan says. Warren goes, Tom is finding out internally about these two things. Spoke to Josh briefly, so he's talking to Sony. He is calling me this evening. His point is that the studio messaging in the article didn't carry in the way he had hoped. My point was that they need to dispute it to kill it, not resolve it publicly. Ryan, they need to frame it the right way. This isn't hard. The sentence needs to start with ... feels like they're trying to thread the needle. They just need to fucking go straight at this. So, in quotes, Sony would like to acknowledge the predominant narrative around it ends with us. This is incredibly wrong and untrue. This is part of a systematic and coordinated campaign by a crisis PR team. And then he continues, and they've let her hang on the marketing angle as well, which is unforgivable. This is the mess they got her into. They are not keeping her safe on every front. I text Josh about this again this morning. The THR thing they did, the Hollywood Reporter thing that they did was a joke. This morning, I sent Josh, this is the head of Sony, this message. We see the backlash over how It Ends With Us was marketed. We see that it target Blake specifically, but marketing and messaging a wide theatrical release like this film is something that is designed and decided by teams of people, influenced by deep research and developed, performed by teams of experts internationally. This work is led by the studio distributing the film. Our goal was to release a film that covered an important subject matter that wasn't rooted in female trauma, but instead female triumph. This is a choice we all made. We see and acknowledge any survivors who wish we marketed this differently. We see and acknowledge the overwhelming positive impact the message of the film has had. We're thrilled this film has over-indexed and became one of the great success stories of the year. What a profound moment for women in film. And I've rewritten this extensively since sending to Josh. Can you resend? And this needs to be addressed immediately. This is the most disturbing thing I've ever seen in the business. Sony needs to step up for real, in all caps. Enough is enough. Warren says, well, they claim his agent. They claim they're trying to kill it. I told him that's not good enough. They need to actually own the narrative around all of this is untrue. Tom owes me. We'll resend the above. Warren says, hi, who is in touch with Daily Mail? They can send them my email. And then Ryan says, they have to stop bullshitting us and get in front. Not just because it's the right thing to do, but because these guys are doing this with all zero repercussions. Baldoni needs to see that an entire studio knows what he's doing. And then Warren's like, I'm on it. We're working on it. And, you know, we got to get this. I plan to call Ari Emanuel tomorrow and have him give his good friend Tom Rothman a call. Ryan goes, yes, please. All hands on deck. And the marketing quote I gave you isn't for Daily Mail. That's for them to release wherever is most impactful. Warren says, okay, I got that. And then they continue to talk. And Ryan goes, our kids are really struggling and I'm trying to get them down right now. And Warren wants him to call him, but he says, I'm hesitant to put it in writing. So Warren Zavala, his agent, just gets off the phone with the head of Sony about this, okay? Why Sony is not standing up more for Blake. And this is what Warren says. I'm hesitant to put it in writing, but the AD issue is true. I haven't spoken to her about this issue, but he is saying they have to assume there's a paper trail of the Wayfarer side. It was Blake who wanted her fired. We argued about a statement which he both said isn't possible due to liability, and getting Tony on the record to support her and speak to the marketing issue was big for them. However, carried around the world but didn't combat the fundamental issue, celebrity and gossip. We left it that he's putting himself and the studio in a position with you and Blake legally. There is exposure on both sides for him. I will have Ari talk to him, but I do think this is people coming forward in support of her is our way through regardless. I have to assume they have a cadre or whatever, I don't know how to say that word, of things that they plan to utilize within the bounds of production to make her look bad. Ryan goes, yeah, but Sony needs to speak to the marketing and frame it the way I mentioned in that text. I don't see any way, shape, or form that it would put them in a bad position. It's just the truth. And they have it within their power to do this. It's a light lift and it's the least they can do. They can't abandon her on this subject. So all he cares about is like, make sure that Sony comes out and says the reason why she marketed her own products, flowers, girlfriends, fun, la la, is not because of her. It's because of Sony. And then Ryan goes, and yes, the AD was fired. She wasn't keeping people safe on set. She was negligent in almost every way. And one of the reasons Blake and the other women dealt with so much dark behavior. She was let go before going back to work. And this was almost part of the return to work document. But they hired a new AD. The backlash to the backlash will hopefully start soon. Warren says, this is what I'm waiting for. I'm hoping that happens. Then they talk about a TikTok, which doesn't open up. It like goes to a page 404. It doesn't work. But basically, they talk about a TikTok that was talking bad about Blake in terms of the way she was answering questions. And of course, Ryan is like, and the most heartbreaking thing about this analysis, Blake didn't realize that the rest of that interview was so redemptive. They're obviously only playing the section Melissa Nathan isolated and amplified. Blake believed their propaganda. She believed that she fucked up and has been kicking her own ass for the unforced error. But she actually answered his question with sensitivity and thoughtfulness. They aren't framing it with any teeth. Oh, there's the teeth. It sounds like a bland as fuck studio opening on their big win. It needs to begin by acknowledging the cultural conversation, the systematic campaign coordinated by Justin's crisis management team. continues back and forth, back and forth. And Ryan says they don't name Justin. They can pretend like something is normal. This is coming from his crisis PR. Warren goes, "We are at war." Ryan says, "Did something happen I'm unaware of?" Warren says, "No, just a general assessment of these fuckers." Ryan Reynolds says, "Any update on Sony? And can Ari go full Ari on Tom?" This is Ari Emanuel, of course. Warren says they effectively got the Daily Mail to not print the AD story. "I huddled with Jamie, not Jamie Heath, a different Jamie, and let her know. I also want to be clear on our task for Ari. He will willfully go full Ari on all of them, but we want to know what we are having him accomplish." And then Ryan says that is at least some good news. But Blake remembered that every single department head from the film crew wrote letters to the PGA, so Blake would have the producers' marks in the credits. There are 19 of them, and each one is testimonial to not only her work ethic, but her character. It's so goddamn redemptive, and I'm so happy we have them. Also, they're timestamped from a couple months back, so nobody can say it was reactive to this situation. It's irrefutable and objectively clear what her contribution was and how she worked so well and so inclusively with each department of the crew. So, while Ryan was losing his goddamn mind in the week after the movie came out, fighting tooth and nail to all the agencies, to Sony, to everyone, don't let Blake out there just hanging. She did nothing. She was the best. She created this movie. She was amazing. She didn't do anything wrong. Do something. Fight back. Which makes questions like why, when you go to industry trades like Variety, like The Hollywood Reporter, and like Deadline, all you see are articles about how horrible Justin Baldoni is and how amazing Blake Lively is, how harassed and abused Blake Lively was, and how disgusting and awful Justin Baldoni is. And the reason why we're seeing this is not because it's reality. It's not because they're really doing the work and reading the actual documents or anything. It's because Ari Emanuel has gone full Ari, and he may not be still the head of WME because I know he sold it or he left to do something else. But he is still, these people have so much power. And if you think that places like Variety or Deadline or these Hollywood trades are ever going to turn on on Ryan Reynolds and Blake Lively, it ain't ever going to happen. Literally, because look at the way that he forces people to join his side. There's another email, I'm not even going to read it to you right here, where he talks to, I can't remember if it's an agent or someone over at Sony or something. And he's like, why isn't Alex Sachs? Remember Alex Sachs, we already don't love her, but she's a producer on the film. Why isn't Alex Sachs saying something publicly to support Blake Lively? And they said she doesn't want to. And he's like, she has to. Like, let's force her into it. So these people were single-handedly going one by one to take Baldoni down and to prop Blake Lively up. And Justin Baldoni was in a crisis, and he had full reason to hire his crisis PR as his backup, because wouldn't you? If you knew that one of the most powerful men in Hollywood was telling everyone that they could speak to that you are a sexual predator, wouldn't you be like, I need help. I'm scared. My career is going to go. So every single thing that Justin Baldoni did makes sense to me in terms of hiring his crisis PR. And we have not one example of Justin Baldoni or Jamie Heath talking about Blake Lively or Ryan Reynolds even in this kind of way. Not one. All he says is that it's been awful. He's feeling traumatized. He's feeling sick. He feels like he's lost everything. He's feel like this. But if he was Ryan Reynolds, he would be calling Blake a nasty B, a cunt, an asshole, a this, a that. I mean, he would be going off, and you don't see any of that in any document. And he actually had a right to call them all those things at this point. So How do we move forward from this moment? How does Blake Lively and her team not say, oh my God, oh my God, there's no way we can win this case? There's no way. Now, there's going to be a hearing in New York, I believe tomorrow. I know Lauren from Court of Random Opinion is going to be there. I know Andy from Popcorn Planet's going to be there. And we are going to see what happens. But, in my internal chat with my content creators that are covering this, we're talking very, very confidently, hopefully, that this is a moment where Judge Lyman is able to say, like, a, um, I don't have any reason to believe that this is a certifiable case. I don't see how Justin Baldoni can continue to be charged with all of these things without actual evidence. There's no evidence. There's just a lot of talk. There's a lot of hearsay. There's a lot of talk. And that's that, you guys. I am sure we're going to get more information in the next few days. So I will be talking about it. Now, I know that a lot of you guys are dying to hear about other stories. Like, I want to talk about the story about Timothy Busfield. I want to talk about some of the other Brooklyn Beckham, but I can't mix it up with this because this is like a 1 year in waiting bombshell. So I will get into it at some point this week. Tomorrow's already Thursday. Thank you guys so much for being here. Thank you for subscribing. And just a reminder for all of you guys that weren't here yesterday, if you want a free Olipop, I know that sounds kind of a little random out of nowhere right now, but a free Olipop, you have the ability to also get, and let me just pull it up, the code for you guys. You can get a free can of Olipop after you're sitting here and watching this, or you can open one while you're, watching the show on replay. So buy any 2 cans of Olipop in the store. It doesn't have to be their amazing brand new Shirley Temple flavor, which is so, so good. My kids drink them so fast. We got a case here and my kids were like obsessed. They couldn't believe how low in sugar. It also has probiotics. It also has high fiber. It's like the best option for sodas in your house. So buy any 2 cans of Olipop in store and we will pay you back for one. Just go to drinkolipop.com/Donna, spelled D-A-N-A. That's DRINKOLIPOP.com/Donna. Thank you guys so much for being here and make sure that you subscribe and like this so that you come back tomorrow or later today when I have more information. Love you. Bye.